Oh yeah, the the red flags. There's been many. I don't write them down. There's too many. I could probably remember a dozen of them with this new employer that comes from uh, the First Nations, and they don't know when they're doing it, but they're trying to colonize me and domesticate me. And I kind of said in my job interview, "Don't do that to me." I'm applying as a specialized worker, not the regular kind of thing, because their job description and contract was pretty primitive. And oh, using the word primitive here, I'm talking about a contract, not a people's, but it's a choice, right, to have this contract. It's a choice to kind of not ask me to make it better or write the one I want and see if they'll approve it. And a lot of answers I find out later are not honest. And my battery didn't start today. I'm not working for another, well, not tomorrow, but the next day. And I sent an email to a few staff. 3 I avoided because they didn't seem friendly with me, or they are, barely above the level of personal development as the clientele we serve. So I don't think I should expect too much there. So, but at least I would say 8 people got it. And of course, they know I seek community, and who keeps me is a community that is capable of partaking in community. So I'm going to bed here with no vehicle, no battery in my vehicle, but a place where I paid rent. So I think I've got 3 weeks to go on this monthly rent. So even if it doesn't move, they won't bother me. And I sent to Honda Canada a request for assistance to speed up and help the process to make sure I get a Honda Monkey of quality, because they happen to have one in the local dealership. I was surprised. But they don't know it, they don't care about it, they're not promoting it, they barely built it that it's not like the handlebars are sliding off. So I kind of wanted help, but also I'm testing to see, if even the big corporations want to help people that want to have the kind of impacts on communities that are culture repair related. I also sent a message to Canadian Tire, and it's not the right email because you can't find it really. But it's, I got the screenshots to confirm these messages were sent and received. And it asks, to get the email of their making a claim because the battery kind of exploded. And I took pictures of how it's been causing corrosion. You can really tell the difference from one side of the vehicle and the other underneath from that corrosion. So let's see if they take responsibility. I mean, they never really have before, Canadian Tire, not when I was in my 20s. I mean, they might now because I have different skill sets to approach them, but so there's a few things, where people will kind of be faced with choices, like I am, like everybody is, where they will choose the path of least resistance, or building community, or win-win scenarios, or taking responsibility, choosing accountability. And I tell you, like I can imagine sometimes clientele, like let's say, let's say they were in a position where they live nearby and they're about to leave. And I would say, can you help me with this? And they would. But, staff that has the path of least resistance to a paycheck, they hardly help. But I'm a few days away from sending my first email, which I predicted would happen. And I've even told a few people that email is going to come next week to remind them this is what I want to offer you as an employer, even though I didn't want to be paid as an employee. You're kind of insisting without even trying to do it that way because you want to just do it the regular way. So domesticating me, and that's what harmed you, and that's what you're doing to yourself still, and that's what you want to do to me. And I also said, a lot of the staff need this life skills training, and they wouldn't have such a hard time dealing with different people, or with the challenges of the clientele they serve, or the being overwhelmed with their hours and what's going on in their personal lives, and quitting or just not showing up, or discouraging the people that are more invested like me to not leave. Because I don't think I'm the first one that left from being discouraged against swimming against the river in the last 2 years, I would say. But I can't seem to get answers about that. People think it's the privacy related thing. Well, I mean, to a limit it might be, but not as much. It's almost like interviews. I should ask employers. I should say, well, who left in the last couple of years and why? And if they don't know, or they say a confidentiality, well, they don't even want to give an answer that is private. For example, they could say, without even saying the gender, somebody was in a role such as this, and the reason they said they left was this. And, it's not personal information, really. I mean, there's a way to make it as neutral as possible. And if we can't ask that as employees, then that is a red flag, by the way. Unions should actually, not just Indeed or whatever, and Indeed doesn't really do it, but I mean, we must know about employers that, let's say, just celebrated a decades-long anniversary is how they, the reasons staff leave. I mean, it's, if really labor rights were important, we'd make decisions based on this, and it would actually be transparent information, so that means employers would actually care about losing or not losing employees of quality, and we don't. So again, it's an example. Unions or labor forces or whatever ministries or advocacy on union and labor force and workers' rights is, you need access to that information, even if it's just stats with just general comments. Anyways, I'll be clear in my emails, and let's say I leave, and I'll say, well, you are not allowing me to meet the mission statement of the organization, and you are not allowing me to teach you, who is also not meeting the mission statement, on how to do it. So, I mean, if somebody asks, hey, wasn't there this guy, Martin, where'd he go? They can say Martin did not believe we were meeting our mission statement, or we did not allow him to succeed himself because we wanted him to be like the norm because the path of least resistance is less stressful.